become a better service advisor? I'll give you the simple solution. Never let your customers call you, text you, email you, however they get a hold of you, to find out what is going on with their car. That's all you got to do. Easier said than done. Let's talk about it. I've been lucky enough to visit hundreds of dealerships across the country, so many brands. I always like to ask the service manager, the service director, GM, EM, drive manager, those people, what is their pain point? The most common pain point I hear is, will you tell my advisors to keep their customers updated? That's it. I'm telling you, I hear that at least twice as much as any other thing I've heard them talk about. So here's the deal. Why don't we do it? The one I hear a lot that I think is really funny is, I have a really good memory. That's a good one. And this is more observing advisors, communicating to customers when they're going to give them a status update or when they have the diagnosis done. I'll call you as soon as I know something. If we translate that into what the customer hears, it's more like nails on a chalkboard. Another one that I hear is the advisors tell me, well, I just do them in the order that they come in. There's a few holes in that one. I know somebody's going to bring this one up, so I'll save you the trouble. I use a 10-2-4 method. I call my customers at 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 4 o'clock. I put a promise time on the RO. Okay, number one, if you're nailing this already, that is awesome. I applaud you. You're in the upper 1% of all the service advisors that I have personally worked with, for real. But let's talk about these one by one. I have a good memory. You may have, all right, for you guys and gals out there that have told me I do it from memory, maybe you can. You probably have a better memory than me, but you're in the minority. If you can remember all of that stuff, I'm talking, we're in the 1/2 percentile of being able to keep that many things sorted out in your head, unless you're writing 2 cars a day at a Maserati dealer. But the most of the mainstream stuff we're doing, where 10 cars is a slow day and 25 is a crazy day, you cannot keep all those clear in your head. But what I do just to check myself, right, I ask the boss, hey, Steve out there tells me he crushes it on customer communication. He does it all by memory, and then they laugh and fall on the floor and so on. You probably can't. You probably need a system. We'll talk about one in a minute. I've been a customer to dealership more than once, and dealers I don't work at, haven't worked at, nobody knows who I am, and been, just a regular old customer there. I have had advisors tell me, I will call you as soon as I know something. And I'm telling you, I just feel so let down when they say that. And I guarantee your customers feel some version of that. We need to give them a specific time. We need to tell them when we're going to communicate with them. If you tell them, I'll call you as soon as I know something, they cannot look at their watch and figure out how to plan their day. That one doesn't work. For the advisors that say they just do them in the order that they come in, I think you can see the hole in that right away. But if you have one that comes in at 10 and they got it towed in and they're on vacation and they need the check engine light diagnosed, and then the next one that comes in is a weight or oil change, and the next one that comes in is an appointment with a mid-service, and the next one that comes in is a major service with an appointment, those all have different expectations and have different promise times. If you treat all of those the same, somebody's going to be mad. Trust me on that one. Let's talk for a minute about the 10-2-4 method. We used to call it the Dr. Pepper method. I'll tell you something, that this tried and true 10-2-4 is not tried and it's not true, and it doesn't work very well. Here's why. When I see advisors or even managers or directors that say that's a good idea, I kind of watch the day. I don't see a service advisor calling all of their customers at 10, because you can't do it. Now, if you told all your customers, I will call you before 10, and then I would call you again before 2, and I would call you again before 4, they can look at their watch and they can plan their day around that. But that means you need to start calling at 9 if you've got more than one customer, and on and on and on. It is just another way to confuse customers and to not commit on when we're going to communicate with them. Don't tell them 10-2-4. We've got some better methods. I covered specific clock times in another video if you want to look at that. But 10-2-4, I believe, is a bad idea. I have been surprised at how many service advisors and consultants tell me their system for keeping track of all of this is they write right on the hard copy when they need to have it diagnosed or when they need to have it done. And then I ask them, how's it work? Because in my experience and in my observation, it doesn't work very well. The technician, if they think that's when the car needs to be done, they don't necessarily figure in that the car has to be washed, the paperwork has to be done. Oh yeah, by the way, you have to have it diagnosed in the morning to find parts and get it sold and get it done in the afternoon, and on and on and on and on. Also, that hard copy is on their toolbox. It's not on your desk. Unless you have electronic RO at your dealership, that's actually in the minority. Most dealerships don't have electronic RO. You put notes on there, they have to be super crystal clear, and you got to have a copy on your desk, or you don't even know what you wrote down. We need to have a way to communicate to our customers that is unique to their condition, their repair order, their appointment, their not appointment, what their demands are, and what their expectations are. Now, you're probably thinking, all right, smart guy, how do you do it? I'm not that smart, but thanks for the compliment. Anyway, here's what worked very well for me. Hear me out. We're going to talk about something else in the modern age. But in the old days when I wrote service, I had a big desk calendar. I wrote every car on there. I wrote the phone number. I wrote what it was in for. I wrote as much as minutia on there as I could. And on there was when I needed to contact them. And I looked them in the eye and I said, I'm going to contact you at 4, right? So during the day, when a vehicle was done, I would line halfway across my sheet when the car is finished, and then the rest of the way across when the car was picked up. If I needed to get permission to keep the car overnight, I would line halfway through, reminding myself I need to get permission to keep it overnight. Once I got permission, I would line it all the way across, and then I would tear that off. The next day, I would write in all the blues, and I'm keeping over, and it would help my mind remember what's going on from doing that. You get how that's laid out. Okay, that was right after World War II. We didn't have spreadsheets and stuff, right? You have so many tools that you can use to do what I did, but do it like it's, 2024, 1955. So here's my point. Use a spreadsheet. Use Post-its. Print another copy of the hard copy or the RO and have it on your desk. Make tons of notes on there. Have an accordion file where they go in. Something better than memory. Something better than confusing your customer and say, I'll call you at 10, 2, and 4, and then they call at 3 and say, what the heck is going on, and so on. Find a system that works. I don't think there's one best one. The one that works for you is the one that worked for you. But the way you tell if that one works is your phone doesn't ring, or your text phone is not blowing up, or the appointment coordinator is not coming in saying, Mr. Smith is on the phone. That's how you keep customers happy. And managers, I want to bring this to you for a second. As a service manager, a service director, a drive manager, what do you tell your advisors the expectation is? What systems do you provide for your advisors? What options do you give them? Like I say, I think there's a bunch that works. And as a manager, I would just tell them, hey, you do it however you want. When my phone starts blowing up, because you're not contacting your customers, I will tell you exactly how to do it, and then that's the way you're going to need to do it. There's no one way to do it, but managers have an expectation. Make it clear to your team what they need to do and how they can keep track of their customers, and then watch those inbound calls. If you're getting too many, it's because somebody is not being clear with their customers.